It's Talk Funny, a podcast by Mark Bailey and other comics from all over. We came to Japan because we were dreaming of a white tofu Christmas. The Talk Funny podcast from NagoyaRadio.com and Nagoya Comedy. Here's Mark Bailey.
Welcome back to another edition of Talk Funny. I'm Mark Bailey. Mike Miller's here again.
Nice to be back.
Mike, we were talking about the mob stories. There's a lot of those. Just because I was in radio, I had a lot. But people in New York have these stories all the time. Mafia's not perfect.
They're not perfect.
In fact, they're idiots.
Yes, it would seem to be.
Yeah, so
idiots with guns. They're the perfect kind of idiots.
So we were talking about, after my story where I almost got killed by the Gotti family, then the limousine...
Yeah, that happened.
Limousine driver. That's a thing,
It's
apparently.
a thing. It happens in New York.
Limousine driver took me to a new hotel, which is at the conference, which is at the World Trade Center at the time. And they had the Sheraton or Marriott.
I think there was a Marriott hotel in there, was it?
Marriott.
I don't know.
It was beautiful. It was great. And it turns out the conference would pay for that anyway. So I go there, and I think you were saying, yeah, a lot of people in New York, people are the foundation of New York.
Yeah.
And especially true now at the World Trade Center.
Oh.
A lot of people are the foundation, yeah.
You really ground that joke in there.
Into the ground, and that joke's smoking.
It's smoking.
Going back to In Memoriam, Gilbert Gotfried. We really loved him. We loved his work. I worked with him in the 80s. He was a mentor of mine. And irony of ironies, his show was interviewing people right before they died.
That's right.
So what I heard was he's ready for a new podcast, and he talked to himself. See, where am I? He asked himself a question. What are we doing here? Oh, my heart.
My heart.
You might remember the details, but he was infamous at the time for telling World Trade Center jokes too soon.
Too soon.
You remember
the Hugh Hefner
details?
roast was legendary.
Yes.
That was like a week after 9/11 or something, or a couple weeks.
It was barely a week, I think.
And they went on with the roast, which is impressive.
And tension was in the room, and I think his first joke was he got up, he said, "I'm sorry I'm late, but I had to stop over at the World Trade Center on my airplane."
I think it was something like that. So he said, I got a really cheap ticket to L.A., but unfortunately it goes through the Empire State Building.
That's what it was.
Yeah, goodbye to the airport state.
Good news is they don't sell return tickets.
Yeah.
So it was one way.
It's cheap one way.
If you fly United, it's always one way. Hey, oh. And people are like, half the comments are like, too soon. He's like, Too soon? Yeah. And so they asked him about it later, and he said, I love to go too soon. And he said, for an example, when I did that joke, some people would say, you wait a week or two, wait a year, wait 6 months. I mean, we were in shock. The country was in shock. Grown men were crying.
Was in shock. Yeah.
Grown men, firemen were crying for a year after this. And he said, I'm not saying it's too soon, but what I like to do is between the first tower and the second tower, I would tell a joke.
Yeah.
Is that too soon? Well, let the event finish first, Gilbert.
Well, there was a lot of tension, and he helped to release a lot of that. I guess people were under an insane amount of stress.
Apparently, he died of a heart condition because he didn't have one.
Oh!
He would have loved that joke.
Yeah, he would have loved that one.
Oh! I told this story, but it's in the ether now. So I think I'll tell it again. Logan and I, and Logan, by the way, recently I talked to him, and he said, you can do anything. You're a competent person, and you can solve any problem. I'm like, that's Anthony Robbins, actually.
Was he stamping his foot while he did that?
Yeah, he's a motivational speaker, but he's a Christian motivational speaker. Yeah. So I'm like, well, technically, I can't do that. That's God that's doing that.
Exactly.
Jesus is doing that. I'm not doing it.
Does he heal people too?
No, but he's a motivational speaker.
On it, though,
yeah, but he's like, you should be a Christian, and you can do anything you want to do, except convert. You can't do that.
It's kind of a limited audience, wouldn't you say?
Whatever you want to do, you can do, except adultery, polygamy,
contraception.
Can't smoke, can't drink, can't get an abortion.
Yeah.
But except for that, it's like the old Monty Python sketch in one of their movies, and they said they're revolting against the Romans.
Oh, yeah.
And they're like, yeah, but what did Rome ever do for us? Oh, transportation. Yeah, aside from that, I don't know, language. Aside from that, mythology, buildings, architecture.
They built the aqueduct. That's
Aside from architecture, language, food, cuisine, mythology, philosophy, and culture, what has Rome ever done for us? Nothing! So we were in the 80s, so Logan and I, we opened, and we didn't get paid. We just opened because we loved, hanging out with comics and stuff, and it's a good experience. And Gilbert Gotfried was doing his act. I think we mentioned this, and the audience was not laughing because he was cringeworthy before it was popular.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
deliberately, yeah.
The Office, the show, Parks and Recreation, they're famous now for like cringeworthy humor.
Mm-hmm.
It's just silence because you said something offensive or wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But he was doing that then, and he did one about if you had to be a Roman guard at the crucifixion and you were in charge of logistics, and you'd have to walk around and tell people, stay away from the cross. It's not a good place. It's gonna fall, and then it's not a good place to. It's not a good place to stand. It's really not a good place to stand. And he goes, and the Roman soldiers are talking to each other, and they're saying to each other, "This is really a long time ago." Doesn't it feel like a long time ago? When were you born? I was born 62 BC. Why do we say BC?
What's going to happen?
What's this? What's next? Who's C? Anyway, got to get back to the cross. And it's like, that's got to hurt. Anyway, he was doing all these, and only Logan and I, he thought we were riffing on it. He thought we were making fun of him because he was bombing. But we were laughing, and we were rolling on the floor. But he thought we were overdoing it. Anyway, he got through his set, and we went backstage to see him. And he goes, did you really like my act? And I said, yeah, you were really funny. And he goes, but no one was laughing. And I said, well, give him time. I mean,
Yeah.
I said, you're a comic. And he said, well, that means I'm not funny.
It is kind of true, though, when people say that, right?
It's an acquired taste.
Well, I heard
it took 20 years for people to catch
it took
on.
a while. But I heard, there was one bit where he did someone saying on a podcast or something, that he came out and he just started off with saying, thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And he just went on for 10 minutes. Says, thank you very much. And the audience were they were revolting against him. They're like, what the hell? We came to see a comedy show, and you're just thanking us. But that was his style. Just hammer it, hammer it, hammer it, and hammer it again, right?
I'm pretty sure I said it on the podcast, so I won't redo the stories, but he got heckled, and he had one. If a fat lady heckled him, he had a joke about a pig. And then if a black guy had the Oonga Boonga joke, you'll have to go back. I'm pretty sure we did the Oonga Boonga.
Yeah, we did the Oonga Boonga joke, yeah.
So you have to go back to other podcasts to listen to that. Anyway, Logan and I, we went back and we said, so is there a secret to comedy? He goes, yes, there's definitely a secret to comedy. There's actually 3 of them. There's 3 of them. Because in comedy, we have the rule of 3. So if you're going to give an example of something that's funny, you have to give 3.
Right.
And people expect it. They're just used to the rhythm. Because there's actually 3. We're look at each other. Wow. So will you tell us? No. No, I'm not going to tell you. Because I learned 2 of them. And I'm still learning the 3rd one. I don't know. He goes, when people laugh, I just stop with the joke. Because I'm like, what is that sound? Because I'm not used to laughter. So he said, you guys were throwing me off because you were laughing. Why are you laughing during my set? Don't laugh during my set. And by the way, I don't know if you knew this. So Conan O'Brien and some other guys, comics, they're all comics now, but they wrote for The Simpsons. Krusty the Clown was based on Gilbert Gotfried.
Oh.
Because nobody knew who he was in 1990 when The Simpsons started.
I see.
It's almost the same voice. And is it Harry Shearer who does the voice?
Maybe it's Harry Shearer, yeah.
Yeah. And Harry Shearer was a good friend of Gilbert Gotfried. So, so Krusty the Clown would get up and go, oh, another kid's party. These parties are death. And people are like, you should die. He goes, I should live so long to die. I should be so lucky. Those are all like lines that Gilbert Gotfried said. Yeah.
Okay.
And it's like,
the legacy lives on.
You come to a kid's party, no bagels? What is this? But it's not a bar mitzvah. Bar mitzvah, smart mitzvah. But anyway, the voice was copied.
I did not know that. That's interesting.
I'll think
based on him.
Okay, so that's a memoriam. But Gilbert Gotfried, so he was actually very nice to us. He was kidding around when he said, no, I'm not going to tell you secrets. What are you afraid of? Logan said, I'm paranoid, and then I get up on stage. And he goes, well, let's see, paranoid on stage. One of these things does not belong. Which one of these things doesn't belong with the other one? He goes, well, if you're paranoid, why are you being on stage? He said, because I want to be a famous comedian. He goes, but if you become a famous comedian, you're going to be paranoid. So keep the paranoid. I just learned to get on stage. He goes, but I'm afraid people won't laugh. And he said, did you see my set? And I'm the headliner. But he saw us a couple times. And he goes, yeah, you guys, you seem to like the jokes on stage. Like, you're always telling the jokes and stuff on stage. Isn't that my job? Isn't that our job? It's like, yeah, you have too many jokes. You have a lot of jokes. You just like the jokes. But his advice was actually pretty good advice.
Down, okay.
Before there was a word called crowd work.
Yeah.
It became, exploited by Todd Glass and all these.
Well, the original
guys.
one was what's his name? The 50s comedian who used to do Don Rickles. Don Rickles was like the original guy, right?
And then Russell Peters. That's all he does.
Yeah. Anybody here from X Country? Woo! Yeah, you guys are crazy. You guys from X Country are crazy.
Which side of
the Y Country? You Y guys are crazy.
Who's from Mumbai? Eastern Mumbai or Western Mumbai?
Oh.
Eastern Mumbai. Oh, Eastern Mumbai. We don't like to party. We don't like to party. Anybody from Western Mumbai? Woo! We are from Western Mumbai. We love to party. We love to party. We have more members in West. And people are like, what the hell is he talking about? You're playing in Cleveland.
Yeah.
There's 3 Indians.
Yeah, I
and
know.
You're talking to them.
Yeah, I know.
So anyway, crowd
are there
work.
Any jokes? Yeah. Yeah.
Greg Fitzsimmons.
Greg Fitzsimmons. Okay.
He just kind of 80s parodied the crowd work. He kind of destroyed it recently because he did a whole special, several of them, just crowd work. And he's not that. I mean, it's not that funny because it's just predictable. It's
so
just like,
you guys are here together. Are you married? And look, he didn't want to say yes.
You almost did his voice. It's almost exactly what he
That's
sounds
him?
like. Yeah. So you had to look. You had to look. Are you here with other married women on other nights?
Yeah.
I try to do his voice. Are you here on other nights with different women?
God.
Oh, I see. I bet you wish I would stop talking to you. I'm not going to because I don't have an act. He doesn't say that, but that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, he's like, this is the easiest gig in the world.
Like, how about you in the black jacket? Yeah, I'm pointing at a guy in a black jacket, and he goes, who, me? No, the other 74 people wearing black jackets in August. You have to look him up.
Oh
I got it down pretty much.
Some of the worst comedy I've ever seen was crowd work. One of the most painful crowd work sessions I ever saw. I was in Ottawa. I did an open mic, and I just completely bombed. But there was a guy who bombed worse than me, and he was trying to do crowd work. And there were only 2 people in the audience, and he started doing that bit. So you guys together, you're on a date. And this kid was a high school kid. Like he wanted to get into comedy. I was just like, this is so painful. I just want to die.
No, we're not together. So do you know him? No, I don't know him. So you don't know him? Does he know you? No. Does the waiter know you? No.
Are there any jokes? No.
I got 8 minutes left. So does the valet know you? So.
Do you know what bar we're at? Because I've forgotten.
So the Fitzsimmons guy, so he'll do like, okay, 87 people left. It's going to take a while, folks. What are you drinking? What are you drinking? I'm drinking a drink. Yeah, I knew you were going to say that. I think I need to be more specific. What kind of drink are you drinking? That's also, by the way, I like to imbibe is by drinking, which imbibe means drinking. It's kind of admirable because he's making it up, but he does it everywhere. So it's the same, reliable crutches. So
like pressure in the machine.
So what are you drinking? The world wants to know. Drinking a whiskey and sour. How sour is it really? Are you drinking it for the sour or are you drinking it for the whiskey? I'm drinking it for the taste. What taste is it again? It's whiskey and sour. Have you had it before, sir? Looks like you've had a few.
Did you want to be a district attorney before you became a comedian?
How much ice?
Cross-examination?
How much ice do you have in there? The guy goes, I don't want to talk about my drink. I came here to watch an act. And he goes, you came here on the wrong night.
Most certainly.
So it's kind of we've made fun of the 80s, parody of 80s jokes, but that's become a parody now.
Yeah.
So, I went to Tokyo, and the host was just doing crowd work, and that's all he did, and he ate into my time.
Yeah.
And he goes, hey, you had a really short set there. I said, yeah, because you gave me 7 minutes, and I started with 14, but you did too much crowd work. And I said, crowd work is exciting for the first 2 minutes,
Yeah.
But they became, so what we joke about with the parodies, 80s, like, oh, airline food, it's horrible, right? Yeah. Oh, my God. Why do girls go to the bathroom together?
I don't know.
Well, they always
no
do
one
that.
said that before.
What's in a chicken McNugget?
Oh, God,
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows. What about those CD wrappers?
You can't get them off. It's like, and then you're at a bar, and then you order a drink, and he goes, will there be anything else? Yeah, eventually. Why do they ask that? And Jerry Seinfeld.
That's his nemesis,
it
too.
It turns into Jerry Seinfeld.
Yeah, Jerry Seinfeld was Gilbert Gotfried's nemesis, right?
Yeah.
They hated each other.
Gotfried would get up after Jerry Seinfeld, and he'd do an imitation, but he wouldn't tell you, but he'd just do an imitation of Jerry Seinfeld.